Hang on. Yeah, it is. All right. So, hang on. Before I get started, I'm gonna again. This is preemptive, but I'm gonna reset the mic. So, turn your speakers down. Here comes a loud pop. Three, two, one. Thank you. Sorry about that. Again, it's to try and keep, if possible, keep mic, what you're hearing and what you're seeing, kind of in sync. So we'll see how that works. But now, I guess okay, 2Old4Forza. Time for the second, well, let's see, race two for this first week in the Ferrari 312 is going to be at the Austin Marina, the full circuit. I don't know at this point if it's day or night. We just have the track up on, Matt's just got the track listed on the schedule. So typically, I think we tend to run this one at night, but I think I'll split the difference. I'll do the track guide portion during the day, and then I'll switch to night for the race, and that way I'm ready either way. But standard fare for a track guide, I will do a couple of hot laps really quick, talking miscellaneous things as I go through it. But then I'll do a little more detailed breakdown, like the slow track walk, corner by corner, just things that I've been noticing with what this car wants to do or what it tends to do. So with that, let's go ahead and get into test drive. I could not, well, I probably could, but I couldn't, we've got two very different circuits here for week one. Suzuka is this very nice, wonderful, smooth, flowy, natural terrain road course. And then we go to the Austin Marina, which is, I'd say, it is a purpose-built race course, but I would hesitate to call it a natural terrain road circuit. I look at Yas as being more closer to a street circuit than a full-on road course, and that could have been a lot better. But we'll get into it. Definitely, Yas is a slightly longer lap, and there's a bit more technical section on the back half of this course that is going to test your patience, because it's not just that it's technical, it's also a lot of off-camber like that. That could have been a little better, but that's why we practice. And coupled with some long straightaways that's into slow corners, I think there's going to be there's certainly more places, I think, to try and set up passes than at Suzuka, but there's also a lot more places to get wrong and mess your own laps up. A lot of second gear, a lot of slower second gear corners that you're really going to have to watch the throttle on exit. That could have been a little better, but again, I practice. I'm always a little wide there. Use a bit of curbing. The other difference between these two tracks, Suzuka's curbing is pretty forgiving for the most part. I find Yas's is not, comparatively. Doesn't mean you can't use it, it's just maybe you can't use as much as you think you want to or think that you can. So, case in point, coming out of turn one here, this exit curbing is pretty bad, considering the next corner you're heading into gets the car all bouncy. You can use a little bit of curbing there. Can't quite get back to the throttle as much as I think I'd want to, but that's a little bit better. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of contact in the hairpin. Good run out of there. Little draft, nice long straight over here to set up the pass. And another left-right chicane that you really want to don't go too far to the right. It's easy to carry a lot of speed in, but then with this car, it really then makes the second half of that chicane difficult to get a good would run out of. Thing here, a little bit of curbing, try and take this as straight as possible. Handle with the throttle. A little bit of wheel spin there. Late. I can never hit the curbing at that corner. You're here. Alright, so that's yeah, I think a different line through there. Alright, let's talk about the lap. Let's go corner by corner, because this one's going to be pretty tricky. So coming down the front straightaway, fourth, fifth gear, braking for turn one for me is it's again correlating a static reference with the braking line. It's usually where, for me, it seems to be where this curbing, where you get the transition in the color on the paint when it turns red. So usually I'm braking here, third gear corner, so down to third gear, turn in, again for curbing wise, inside curbings you can see that there's just a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of a bump there. It's not too crazy. You can get away with abusing the inside curbings, as you dare. Again, you're still going to want to be gentle with the throttle on exit, but you can, if you want to get on this curbing, it's not going to upset the car so much that you have to worry about spinning out or like that. It's just, again, be mindful how aggressive you get on the throttle on the exit. Third gear isn't too bad. It's usually the second gear stuff, and we'll get to that. The exit here out of one heading up, really, I would strongly advise being neat and tidy out of one. Don't use the exit curbing here. I mean, the exit curbing is ridged and bumped. It's similar to Suzuki. If you get on it, it's going to bump the car like that. But with this next turn, I would say just stay off of it for the setup, because this next one is third. Let's see, third gear, fourth gear. I might short shift fourth. The entry to this corner, it's a bit. I don't want to say it's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, what I'm trying to do is you're gonna ease off the throttle, roll it in, and roll back into the throttle. You can use a bit of the inside curbing; it'll unsettle the car. But to boot, the way this corner is, and as you saw on my demo, outlaps, there are a couple of bumps as you kind of crest the hill and come up over the top here. So I would say if you can stay off the inside curbing as well is probably ideal. That way, then you're really only dealing with the bumps that you're going to get as you crest the hill and setting up for the next part of it. Because again, this car has downforce, just not as much as we want. So as you crest the hill, you'll get the car settled. It'll bump a little bit. The setup here, then still fourth gear. I think I'm just going to ease off the throttle and turn the car in. Again, this is one of those let the car do the works. I'm going to not really let's get on the curbing. Inside curbing is pretty smooth, so you can use the inside curbing a little bit if you risk it. I think just from the amount of speed I've been carrying in through this corner, I'll tend to be off of this curb entirely. Most likely what's going to happen is I'm going to turn in, I'm going to carry so much speed in, the car's going to push wide, start to push wide on exit, which isn't too horrible. You've got plenty of space here. Let the car kind of work its way out. Ideally, I think for me, it's like I'd probably be bringing the car to the left side, probably closer to the second set of cones than the first. But again, just as you're balancing the car with the throttle and the steering, just let the car come out to the left side, full throttle down the hill towards the next, or at least I guess this is the first chicane. Bring the car back out, fourth gear. I think fourth gear, maybe fifth, but for me, I've been doing this in second gear. So down to second gear, turn in. I'm going to try and abuse as much of this inside curbing as the game's going to let me get away with. Now, probably not that much, but where I've been getting into trouble is, and it's going to be the same on the other side, is you're going to think it's like, oh, I'm off the curbing. I need to, get on the throttle to get to the next one. if you're going to get back to the throttle, you're barely going to be on it. You're not going to be on it long enough to do any to get any significant acceleration, and it may make you late then to brake for the second part. So I would say, maybe practice, getting your braking done in carrying the speed in, into the first part so that you don't have to really brake or you don't have to accelerate through this middle portion so you can get the car set for the next part of the chicane. I'll be able to break it down a little better when I start getting into rhythm. But second part here, very easy to miss this corner or to miss this curbing. Use a little bit of the inside as I can. Out. And then we head to the hairpin. I'm still trying to sort this one out of what I like. I mean the suggested line is I probably is the best line. If you're on your own, because in kind of looking at the map, it almost looked like it's a decreasing radius corner because it tightens up right at the end. So probably the ideal line is to take that wider entry and late apex it out onto the backstretch, which is fine if you're on your own. But if you're in traffic or if you got somebody that's trying to get by you, the second I go way wide out, someone might try and beat me to the apex and then kind of jump on the inside. It's slow enough that's where I think that we're going to have some contact here, just by people looking for these openings and trying to take advantage. So I would say in your own practice every single line. Take the standard one, get used to that. Practice doing a really tight, keeping it tight to the inside, just in case. Yeah, hey, you want to protect the inside. How much steering do I need? When can I get back to throttle? Because this is a second gear. This is going to be done. I'll be doing it in second gear. And again, if you do the traditional line, as you can see, I can't see unless I move the stick. I can't see the inside of that corner at all. So that's where this one's going to be interesting. But again, I'll do it in second gear. I'll try and keep the inside curbing in view, bring it out, and then probably I won't be committing back to full throttle until I'm mostly out of the corner. I've got most of the steering unwound, or it'll be kind of a relation. As I unwind, I'll roll into the throttle. Because again, with this car in second gear, if you stab the throttle and you have any kind of steering input, it will spin the back tires up. The other thing too is watch for people as they come out of this corner. If the car gets loose, tendency is that the car's going to hook and it's going to start coming back across to the left. So just be mindful of that, especially if you're trying to set up somebody. Maybe you're trying to do a little wider and do the crossover on exits so that you're on the left side. Out of here, just be careful that it might happen that somebody might get to the throttle too early or too aggressively, and the car hooks and just there's going to be contact. So I would just expect it. But again, if you get a good run out of this corner, I'll be interested to see how well drafting works. If there's enough of a draft that maybe if you get a little bit of a run out, the draft helps you. You might be able to get to the inside heading down to this to the next corner and the second chicane, which is I think for me the most difficult chicane for me to get right. So heading down to the backstretch, obviously again, we know how the track narrows up, so just be mindful of that. Braking for this next chicane is just past where the curbing turns red. So it's not quite the what is that? Nope. Wrong button. But it got me back to where. So that's a 150 board. And a lot of times I don't pay attention to the numbers. It's like the first, second, third board. So it's not quite 150, but it's not at the 100 either. So red, where the paint turns red, if you use that as a guide and then kind of judge, you can brake just as you get past it. But that's usually if you can't see the braking line, just keep an eye out for where it turns red. Let's resume from line. So brake. This is a second gear corner. And again, if you look at the track map, it's deceptive. You might look at it from here and think it's a 90-degree left-hander. It's actually not. I'm not a geometry, or I can't just gauge it and say, oh, it's this angle. But it is a much tighter. It's almost it's in between a 90 degree and a hairpin, so it's a little bit more than 90 degrees. But then the left-hander is a 90-degree right-hander. But this one is difficult to get right because you're trying to carry speed in through here, and so if you approach it as if it's a 90-degree corner, for the speed that you got, it's going to put you, the exit's going to put you all the way to the inside here. And with this car and the way the right-hander is kind of this, you're going to see a trend on the back half of this course with all the tight corners. It's not that it's tight, it's slightly crowned and off camber on exit, which is a recipe for wheel spin and back end stepping out for the back half of the lap. So what I'm going to try and do without hitting anything is I'm going to use the inside curving as much as I can. I just have to consciously remember to not really try to carry speed out, is to try and really get the car and keep the car left of center if I can. Not always going to work, especially if you're trying to stick a pass. If you're trying to stick a pass and you don't get the braking right, you're going to carry wide. It's also why if someone's trying and pass on the inside here, might be a good idea to let them do it and look for the crossover on the exit. Because because of the way the nature of the chicane, this right-hander is more important than the left-hander. So ideally, if I do it right, which most laps I won't, I'll be a little left to center. I'm going to still second gear. I'm going to try and use as much of this inside curve as I can and apex it as late as I can. The straighter I can get this angle out, the sooner I can start getting back to full throttle, the more speed I'll carry down this next straight. So that's going to be the challenge. I think most of us, because we're trying to also maximize our speed through the chicane, we're probably all going to carry wide on exit, and we're going to get left side tires on the outside there. That's probably what's going to happen more often than not. But if I can delay that as much as I can and get a straighter shot out, that might help. We'll see how that plays out. But regardless, we're probably all going to end up out here. Try and stay off the outside curbing if you can, up through. The line I'll take is I'll just let the car naturally drift out to the left, minimize the steering. I'll keep it out to the right. I'll keep it out to the right, setting up for the next set of chicanes, next set of off-camber chicanes. So for me, the braking here is another area of second gear, pretty much. I'm using the Yas Marina circuit kind of TV board there on the left side as a reference point. I'm going to have to brake. I think ideally I'm braking just as I get to it, and by get to it, meaning just as it's getting the edge of the screen. It's about, as I'm looking at the braking line, like once I see that, that's where I'm hitting the brakes. So again, if you can't see the braking line, kind of get used to seeing like where's that Yas Marina sign, where you're braking, where you're comfortable braking. And then that way, if you kind of remember and have that in your peripheral, it'll help you when you're in traffic or trying to set passes up and you may not see the braking line if you're using it. But again, fifth gear down to second. And again, inside curbing, I want to try and abuse as much of this as I can. Is what I want to try and do is, as I go through here, is the exit. I want to the less I have to steer through these to get the car through the corners, the better. So this one I might bring it a little bit to the left just to open it up just a smidge so that I can attack the curbing here, so I can kind of point it. And it'll be at night, so it's probably you're not gonna see it. But maybe I'm not really looking at static references, but maybe if you're lining it up with the Yas Marina sign and the yacht that's just beyond it, that kind of puts you straight on to the apex of the next corner. I might still bring it to the left a little bit so I can turn and again abuse the corner. In between, we'll see how I do on the throttle. I don't think there's going to be enough time to really like aggressively get back to the throttle. It may be a partial throttle just to keep the car moving. But the exit of this one, again, the exit here, you're in second gear. You're still going to have to give it a pretty significant amount of steering angle out, and you're going to have to try and roll back into the throttle. So don't be surprised. The car, depending on how aggressive you are with it, you may feel the back tires spin up here. And again, the second it starts to spin up, just back out of the throttle and roll back in. The car should stay in line. If you're following somebody and that happens, the tendency is the car's going to start to hook left. So roll back into the throttle. Probably still be in second gear here. Quick brake. Again, this is another entry where you can tell it's just kind of this cresting cresting corner into the apex, and then it's off camber on the exit. So another one of those where I'm going to try and use as much of the inside curving as I can, and and I'm going to be gentle getting back to the throttle, trying to minimize the amount of wheel spin I get, so that I can get going straight down the track. So definitely some areas, if you get pretty good at that, just definitely areas to watch for the drivers, getting it wrong and getting the car uncomfortable. You might be able to cut underneath, or if they hook back across, take the line out. There you go. So accelerate on the next set of corners. For me, I'm going to be full throttle. I'm going to turn the car in here. Let's get to the inside. As I pass under this Marina sign, just past it, I am going to do just enough of a lift out of the throttle, then roll back in to help get the car into this next kink. I think if you try to do a full throttle, the car's going to push wide. I'd rather be here, roll back in, and then it's braking just as, again, the natural line out. It'll be braking just as you get the car to the left side. Back in might step into place as you get to the brakes. And we're back to more second gear corners. So second gear, I'm going to use a little bit of this curbing here. I'm going to try to keep it to the middle at best. Bring the car back across, roll into the throttle, quick brake. I'm always late for this one, but again, it's another cresting second gear corner. Watch the wheel spin on the exit. Second gear here, quick brake, turn in, same thing. Use the inside curbing. Watch how aggressive you get on the throttle out. You might spin the rear tires up. Second gear, third gear. Might wind it out in third gear. I might shift to fourth. I'm going to brake right. Now, I doubt the 50 board's going to be there for the entire race, but it's also just before the pavement changes. And if you can't see the line because of the guy in front of you, you can always look, see if you can spot where the pavement changes. At night, it might be a little harder to spot. Again, I don't know what conditions we're running this in. So for me, though, this is still downshift third gear. I'm going to use a bit of the inside curving out. This is also the setup for the final corner is deceptive. If you religiously follow the suggested line, the nose of the car, your left side tire is going to be out in the curbing, and it's going to unsettle the car. So I would say stay off the curbing, because you're trying to set up entry for the corner, and it's kind of hard to turn in when you're on an uneven, bumpy surface on the left side of the car. So for here, I'm in third. I'm still trying to figure this out. Braking is definitely, I think, right as you get to the line, the pit commit line. Where I'm still trying to sort out is gearing and the turn in. The turn in is slightly, I think, is obviously the turn in is slightly before you go off the track. Ideally for me, I'd like to get comfortable doing this in third. We've got a little bit, if you can kind of see into the corner, we've got a little bit of banking help. There's a little bit of help there on entry, and again, we'll lose a little bit on exit because as the corner flattens out. But hashtag me personally, if I'm in third gear, because the car's on a lower RPM, I can be a little more aggressive with the throttle on the way out, and I won't risk the wheel spin. If I do it in second, I got to be careful of the wheel spin, and I might be, again, back to what I said at Suzuka, it's one of those, if I'm having to upshift out of a corner before I'm at where I believe the exit is, where I'm fully out of the corner, I may be able to do it in higher gear. So I'm still playing with this one. I think second gear gives you better entry because it'll slow the car down, because I'm actually going to differ. I think for me right now, I'm differing from the suggested line where I'm getting into this apex a little bit sooner. But we'll see. We'll see how that adjusts as I get into the race. But then out, I'm going to try and stay off the outside curbing if I can. Bumpity, and then bring the car back across, and that is the slow track walk lap of Gus Marina. So a bit more, again, the very two contrasting tracks. As far as I'd almost consider going from a nice flowy road to a technical street circuit. But that is the slow track. Let's actually run a mock race and see what happens. And so based off kind of my initial practice lap times, and I'm gonna run 15 laps. We'll see how long it takes me. That's in the ballpark of what we'll probably be running on race night. So 15 laps, one quick stop. I did play, same classic cars. Actually, you know what? I've got a minute before I start. I can talk all this prep talk during during my waiting. Go ahead and start. So 15 laps, one quick stop. Same divisions of cars in front of me. I've got the Formula 70 starting up front. 30 seconds later will be the P2 cars. I'm actually going to start up. I'm going to start at 55. Well, no, 58 seconds. I wasn't watching the clock. I've switched the final groups. I'm actually going to start third in the delays, and then starting at 60 seconds back. So I've got like 2, maybe 3 second head start. I'm going to have the P1 start behind me. This one, unlike Suzuka, I think the Drivatars are a little better as far as their pathing. They're not going to have as many offs. So, that 2 or 3 seconds, they're going to be on me. They're going to be on me before the first chicane. But it gives me a little practice being defensive. What seems to work, as far as what lines work with this car, and being defensive, and what I can do. So with that, let's get started. Okay, third gear, cold tires. Gonna push a little bit on understeer on entry. Bumpa, bumpa, bumpa. Yeah, I got to be careful with that first part of the chicane. If I get back to the throttle, I've just been noticing the front sticks a bit, but the tires really grip up, and the car lurches to the left as I understeer through the hairpin. No, you don't. I left the door open. I don't know. I'll chalk that up as a racing incident. And I have mentioned on past broadcasts, you do see questionable racecraft. Now, I'm not talking about the Drivatars. Wow. Yeah, that, again, you want to see the difference in braking. 40 years of, or 50 years of brake technology. Little bit in there. Oh, I forgot the downshift. This surprises me. That I would think that, 19 should have. Oh, that's a lot of understeer. I can't talk and drive at the same time. No, I'm kind of actually surprised that out of a couple of these corners, even in a video game, that this car would at least out accelerate a modern LMP1 car. All right. I am going to go slightly defensive here just because I got the Peugeot behind me, and with my history of racing the Peugeots, and I'm going to go wide. He's going to be on the left. Nope, he's still behind me. Good. Oh, he's got a head of steam. Expensive. Little short shift out of there. Again, to mitigate that wheel spin. All right. Yes, I prefer to do third gear if I can on that last corner. Of course, she's not getting away. That's good. All right, let's not understeer off the course this time. That's better. Ah, Peugeot's trying the undercut. That's probably about as well as I'm going to be able to do that. A little bit run. I get past. Oh, he's going to leave the. If you're going to leave the door open. No, you're not. Excuse me. Yes, we're still there. Yeah, I'm totally there. That could be a lot more stabby on the throttle and third out of the last corner. Not spin the rear tires up. Hitting the traffic well. He's passing all the cars, on the straightaway. It's like I'm having to pass through the corners. Not fair. It's not fair. No, Mikey, no. Oh, I just realized I said I was going to do this one at night. Oh well. Oh, if it's at night. And get stuck in traffic. crossed up, wasn't sure what they were doing. So even for this turn, I mean, if you want to wind it out in third and then upshift to fourth through here, you can do that. Like the other Audi has hit it early as well. I think I've got a measure of them because once we start getting into traffic, I'm a little bit more aggressive, or at least back to that questionable racecraft. Lots of trying an extreme crossover on the I can get the Ford into the final set of corners. Oh, thank you. I'll take that. Oh, didn't quite time the pop out well. Well, but be a little quicker than that on the exit. Back off. Just getting this wrapped a little bit. Wow. That little lift. A little early. What is behind me? Okay, you left me room. Thank you. Appreciate that. Don't hit me. So let's see. Now to hit the end of lap 8. I held the throttle a little bit too long and the car pushed wide, so just back off the throttle at the car. Let the car slow down on its own. You need to brake. looked down at the map and saw the one of the gold cars, the P1 cars. Looks like he's about through traffic, and I may have company very shortly. That was late. Oh, we're gonna box now. So yeah, now that seemed to work. And boxing in for the pit lane is kind of use that same pit commit line, drop it down a gear, drive it in. Long pit lane, plenty of time to get a drink. Excuse me. And a unique pit lane in that the exit crosses under the track and spits you out on the opposite side. Too bad we have all of this in front of us that we can't kind of enjoy, you know, trim it down a little bit, but whatever. It is what it is. Just let us go. Yeah, so third gear, feather the throttle, you're back on the racing line. Full tires, car's going to understeer a little bit more. Now, if you wanted to be sneaky and run traction control, this is the circuit to do it at. Because you'll definitely get a jump out of that hairpin. Or you'll get a jump out of a lot of these slow corners. Okay, let's see if I can catch the P1 cars. Now, the longer the P1s are stuck in traffic, better chance I have at catching up to them. That's the race, is can I get up to them, can I get through traffic better than they can before they get clean air. They will be faster. Well, that was too much. As soon as I turned in like that, I'm gonna cut the course. Look at the, you could just see them just outrunning the F1 cars down the track, on the straight. And ahead, oh, somebody had a bad time, please don't hit me. Oh, he's still completely stuck with the chain. Wonder what happened. Where I have to get through the next couple of cars as quickly as possible. Because if I get stuck, oh! If they get in clean air before I can get to the back of them, I may not be able to catch them. And I'm gonna do it. Second gear, since I'm in traffic, I'll leave a little room on the outside until I know that I'm clear. No, I'm not gonna get him here. Interesting. No. When in doubt, both feet out. If something like that happens, back and start stepping out. Just don't brake, don't throttle. Just let the car's going to scrub its feet on its own. Just pay attention to the steering. And once the car kind of sets back in, then roll back into the throttle. It's just that, again, car checking up where I'm not expecting it to. I just saw the Lotus just flashing like back and forth in the mirror. It's like, what's going on back there? might be able to set a clean lap finally. Nope. There we go. Sorry, I had the control back on. I got so focused on racing that I forgot that I've got to flick the stick. So, all right, hopefully remember to do that now. Tough to drive the car when you can't hear anything. Yeah, at least what I thought I might be able to try and do at that corner, to late apex it more, I'm just not able to do it. So. And that's the danger of taking that really tight line. DRS enabled. A little stupid aggressive now. As opposed to stupid non-aggressive. 2 laps left. I'm in third place. I'm in third? I didn't hit. I didn't it was P1. He's mired. Okay. So no threat from behind at this point. Probably the cars in front of me is probably the Peugeot and the Audi that, and probably definitely the Peugeot is probably in the lead because the undercut works. So let's just focus on this lap won't be clean, but let's focus on getting the end of this lap clean so that maybe I can set a decent lap at the end. I love how Forza's damage model, and I don't know if this is just a Series X thing with Forza, where I could see the flashes of, I guess, the wing. But I think my camera on the stream is blocking most of it. It flashes in and out. Alright. Alright, let's do good racecraft. Let's try it. Gear. Alright, so fifth gear, third gear for the first turn. Pushing a little bit. If we can get into the 203s. It'd be tough. I'm right there, but I don't know. I think I saw 2.04064. Oh, I'm definitely not going to get there with that. Oh, that's bad. Like 3/10 down? 2/10 up. Okay, forget everything I just said. Must have done something else well at the start of the lap. But plenty of other places that I can mess up. That was decent. Don't know if it's quicker, but it was decent. Found another 10th. Good. I like that. Going in the right direction. Yeah. 238. Very good. I lost a little bit in the last sector, but I'll take it. So it's Yas Marina in the Ferrari. Definitely, you're going to learn. If you're not running traction control, you're going to learn what you can and can't get away with in second gear out of the slow corners. But other than that, it's a good track, and at least a good car for this track. And it will be a lot of fun. So with that, I'm going to call it an evening. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. I will see some of you. I don't know who watches these or not, but if you are part of the series, I'll see you guys on Thursday night, and happy racing.